Hi everyone, I'm Doris Taylor. Have you ever watched someone destroy your child's happiness, only to witness karma strike back so perfectly it feels like justice served? Grab some popcorn, because this story of sweet revenge will make your day. Before we dive into this wild ride, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about surviving toxic people and coming out stronger on the other side. 3 years ago, my world turned upside down when my husband Jack passed away. Now, I juggle two jobs, nursing by day and bookkeeping by night, all to give our 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, the life she deserves. Another double shift, Amy? How admirable. I suppose someone has to serve the community, my sister-in-law, Victoria, quipped during Sunday dinner at the family mansion. She adjusted her pearls, flashing that fake sympathetic smile I'd grown to despise. Well, some of us actually enjoy making a difference, Victoria. I replied coolly, watching her perfectly Botox face twitch. My brother Thomas nearly choked on his wine, trying to stifle a laugh. He's always had my back, especially since Jack's death. Mom, Diana showed me her party dress today. It's so pretty. Can we go shopping for mine this weekend? Sophie asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Before I could answer, Victoria chimed in, "Oh, darling, the boutique I'm using is quite exclusive. Perhaps you could try that charming little discount store at the mall." Her husband James cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Victoria, dear, what?" "I'm simply being practical. We must consider everyone's circumstances." Later that evening, while I was tidying up, Diana snuck into the kitchen. "Aunt Amy, I'm sorry about Mom. I really want Sophie at my party. More than anyone," she said earnestly. "Thanks, sweetie. You're nothing like your mother, you know that." "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me," Diana whispered, hugging me tight. Thomas walked in just as we finished. "Hey sis, got a minute?" he asked. We stepped onto the back porch where he lit a cigarette. "You know Victoria's just jealous, right?" "Jealous? Of what?" "Jack chose you over her back in college. She's never gotten over it." "What? She dated Jack." "Dated?" More like threw herself at him, and he wasn't interested. Then she rushed into marrying James for his family money. She wanted to spite Jack by marrying his brother, but it backfired. That's why she's always trying to make you feel small. You have everything she really wanted. I leaned against the railing, stunned. Does James know? Probably not. Victoria's great at keeping her skeletons buried. That night, as I tucked Sophie into bed, my heart ached when she asked, "Mom, why does Aunt Victoria always make those weird faces when we talk about Dad?" Some people, honey, are so unhappy with their own lives that they try to make others feel bad too. But we won't let them win, right? Right? I can't wait for Diana's party. It's going to be amazing. If I'd known then what Victoria was planning, I would have done anything to protect my daughter. But life has a way of setting the stage for perfect revenge all on its own. The day of Diana's sweet 16 finally arrived. Sophie twirled in her blue dress, the one we'd saved for months to buy at Macy's. Her excitement was infectious as we pulled up to the country club in my worn-out Honda. "Check my hair one more time, Mom," she giggled. Walking into the grand ballroom was like stepping into another world. Crystal chandeliers, silk-draped tables, and waiters with silver trays of champagne. Sophie's grip on my hand tightened. "Oh my God." Victoria's voice cut through the air like a knife. "What are you wearing?" She stalked over in her designer gown, her face twisted in disgust. "This is a sophisticated event, not a food court." "We were invited," I said firmly, though Sophie shrank behind me. "By Diana, not me." And clearly she didn't explain the dress code. Victoria sneered. Then, with a snap of her fingers, 2 security guards appeared. "These people need to leave. They're embarrassing the family." "Mom, stop," Diana shouted, breaking away from her friends. "I want them here." "Be quiet, Diana," Victoria hissed, "or you can join them." As the guards approached, the wealthy guests began to whisper. Sophie started to cry, her small shoulders trembling as they escorted us out. "You can't do this. She's my cousin," Diana yelled after us. Victoria grabbed Diana's arm as we reached the parking lot. "You're embarrassing yourself," she hissed. Sophie collapsed into the car seat, tears streaming down her face. "Why does she hate us so much, Mom? What did we do wrong?" My hands shook on the steering wheel as I dialed Thomas. His voice was tight with anger when he answered. "Get to my place. Now, there's something you need to hear." 20 minutes later, we sat in Thomas's study. Sophie had cried herself to sleep on his couch. Victoria's been spreading rumors. Thomas began, his tone sharp. She's telling people you trapped Jack by getting pregnant, that you're after the family money. What? I whispered, stunned. Sophie was born 3 years after we married. I know, Thomas said grimly. But that's not all. Remember when your invitation to Cousin Sarah's wedding got lost? That was Victoria. Or the family Christmas party where you were seated in the kitchen. Victoria again. She's been systematically trying to push you out for years. My phone buzzed. A text from Diana. Mom's telling everyone you crashed the party drunk. I recorded her. I'm so sorry, Aunt Amy. My hands clenched as I watched the video. Victoria's voice rang out, dripping with malice. She's just like her alcoholic mother. Thank God Jack didn't live to see what she's become. My mother died of cancer, not alcoholism. I whispered, rage building inside me. She's using my dead husband and mother to destroy my reputation. There's more, Thomas said, leaning forward. James called me last week. He's been noticing money disappearing from the family trust. Victoria's signatures are all over the paperwork. Looking at Sophie, her cheeks still stained with tears, something inside me hardened. I want her destroyed, I said quietly. Not just embarrassed. Destroyed. Thomas smiled grimly. I was hoping you'd say that. I know exactly how to do it. The next morning, over coffee in Thomas's home office, he laid out a plan. I scrolled through Diana's texts from the night before, each one revealing more of Victoria's schemes. As I said, James noticed money missing from the family charity. Thomas spread out financial documents. Look at these signatures. Victoria's been writing checks to shell companies. I frowned, pointing to a recurring payment. Wait, I recognize this name. When I was doing bookkeeping for Harrison Industries last month, I saw similar patterns. These are fake businesses. Diana arrived during her lunch break, carrying her mother's laptop. Mom never logs out of anything, she said, handing me a USB drive with trembling hands. I found emails. She's been transferring money from Grandpa's accounts, small amounts over the years. How did you get this? I asked, stunned. Mom's drunk on power. She doesn't think I'm smart enough to figure anything out. But I've been watching, recording, saving everything. Thomas whistled as he scanned the files. She's stealing from multiple accounts, evading taxes through fake charities, and there's a whole folder of emails plotting to sabotage your reputation in the community. Just then, my phone buzzed again. A text from James. We need to talk. Victoria's up to something big. Meet me at Murphy's Diner in an hour. At the diner, James looked exhausted. I hired a private investigator last month, he said, pushing a stack of reports toward me. Victoria's been stealing from my parents' retirement accounts. Dad's having memory issues, and she's been taking advantage. How much? I asked, my stomach twisting. Over $2 million. And that youth center she was supposed to be running? It doesn't exist. She's been pocketing the donations. Back at Thomas's house, we spread everything out. Deanna's recordings, James's PI reports, and the financial documents. A pattern emerged. Victoria had been systematically stealing from everyone while building her social empire on lies. One more thing, Diana said, pulling out her phone. I recorded Mom talking to her friend Susan last week. She's planning to declare Grandpa mentally incompetent so she can take control of the entire family trust. The recording played. Once I get power of attorney, I'll cut them all off, especially that gold-digging nurse and her brat. They'll be begging on the streets where they belong. That's it, I said, standing up as fury coursed through me. Call your grandfather. He needs to hear everything. An hour later, William Harrison Sr., the family patriarch, sat in Thomas's study. His face darkened with each piece of evidence we presented. The party incident was the last straw, Diana explained, showing him the video. Mom's been torturing Aunt Amy and Sophie for years. She used your memory issues to steal. William's voice shook with rage as he spoke. And she did this to my granddaughter. All of it is documented, Thomas said, spreading out the evidence. The embezzlement, fraud, theft from your accounts, and fake charities, everything. William picked up a photo of Sophie crying in her party dress. I've been blind to what's happening in my own family, he said quietly. But this ends now. He pulled out his phone and dialed his lawyer. John, call an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning and contact the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. I want Victoria Harrison investigated for everything. Looking at me, his eyes hardened. No one hurts my family and gets away with it. Tomorrow, Victoria learns what real consequences feel like. The annual Harrison Family Foundation Gala buzzed with energy. Victoria stood at the podium, delivering a speech about family values, her voice oozing charm. Her perfect smile faltered when we walked in: Thomas, James, Diana, William Sr., and me. And now William interrupted, taking the microphone. Victoria will explain herself. Where did the missing $2 million from our youth center go? William Sr.'s voice cut through the stunned silence. The room froze. Victoria's face turned pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe these will refresh your memory. James stepped forward, projecting the damning financial documents onto a screen behind him. Or should we discuss the money you stole from my parents' retirement accounts? Victoria clutched her purse and bolted for the exit, but Diana stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Running away, Mom? Just like you made Sophie run away crying from my party. Diana, move. Now, Victoria hissed, her composure crumbling. No, everyone here needs to know who you really are, the stealing, the lies, the cruelty. It ends today. Fury flashed across Victoria's face as she raised her hand to slap Diana. But I caught her wrist mid-swing. Touch her, and assault charges will be the least of your problems, I warned. James stepped forward, his voice calm but icy. The divorce papers will be delivered tomorrow. And just so you know, the FBI is already investigating. Victoria spun around, desperately searching for an ally, but her so-called friends backed away. Phones were raised, recording every humiliating second. 6 months later, Diana and Sophie celebrated their birthdays together in our backyard. Diana had moved in with us, finding safety and love in the family Victoria had tried to tear apart. Sophie had just received the incredible news that she earned a full scholarship to Preston Academy, a dream come true. That night, as the house settled into quiet, I found an envelope in the mail with Victoria's handwriting on it. Without hesitation, I tossed it into the fireplace and watched the flames consume it. Some people don't deserve second chances. A news alert flashed across my phone screen. Former socialite Victoria Harrison arrested for scamming elderly clients. I smiled as I turned off my phone. Victoria had spent her life tearing others down, and now she was living with the consequences. Meanwhile, we were thriving, free from her toxic shadow. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising above, reclaiming your happiness, and building something beautiful from the ashes of what they tried to destroy. What would you have done if someone tried to destroy your child's happiness and reputation? Would you have thrown Victoria's letter in the fireplace like I did, or would you have read it to see if she truly regretted her actions? It's hard to decide when toxic people creep back into our lives, claiming they changed. But can someone who systematically tried to ruin a child's self-esteem ever deserve forgiveness? Share your thoughts in the comments below.